Do you want to bring your family up? Okay, let's have the whole Hargrove family come on up here and join us.
Eric, Reggie, can you come with me? Bronte, Bronte, come with me. And yeah, I want past it.
Don't worry about it. Got lost, man.
Come on, there's plenty of room up here.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. And the boy's not here? Not yet. I don't know where the rest of my family is.
Well, good morning. It's a very special day today. The bus riders in this city know that 8 Mile and Woodward is probably the single biggest connection point in the city of Detroit. Whether people going from north, south to east, west, this is a connection point from the DDOT buses to the smart buses out in the suburbs. And anybody out here knows there was a mishmash of shelters out there that was that transfer point. When I was running for mayor in 2013, I lived across the street. And in the winter, I would see cabs line up by the shelters, hoping that somebody was cold enough, somebody who might have worked a shift at $8 or $9 an hour, but were cold enough they were going to lay out $25 to pay for a cab. And the city was in bankruptcy then, but I decided then we have got to build a transit center at 8 Mile and Woodward, somehow, some way. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And then when the Hillwood Group came by with the Sterling Group and Amazon and said they wanted to rebuild the fairgrounds, I said to them, I'll support you, but there's one thing I want. I want to set aside room inside that's not for a private development, but that is that transit center. It's a place where our bus operators can go and get a break and use the bathroom. It's a place where our riders can wait for the bus in a comfortable and safe setting. And so they agreed to that. They actually put $7 million as part of the purchase price toward this. And then I said to my team, the state fair means a lot emotionally to a lot of us every year. My parents took me as a kid. I wanted to have on this historic site something that goes back to those days. And I said, can you reuse one of these sites? My idea was to use the State Fair Coliseum, which many of us have been to for a lot of activities. Turns out they couldn't do that, but they could reuse the Dairy Barn, which you saw during the State Fair, the various competitions. And they said what we can do is we'll keep the facade of the Coliseum and we will build out a park. So this entire section will function for the residents of the city and remind us what we had. And then a development that I had never seen coming. But in March of 2020, we remember how COVID hit. And today the COVID strains are very mild, but that first strain was extremely deadly. We lost 1,000 of our neighbors in the city of Detroit. And in the middle of that crisis, every day our police officers went to work, our firefighters went to work, our EMTs went to work, and our bus operators went to work. And they went to work at knowing that they were at risk. And we did what we could to protect them. We hadn't seen this before with masks and ultimately building out partitions. But the courage of all of those public servants was enormous. And the day that Jason Hargrove did that video that went viral and talked about the insensitivity of a passenger coughing on him, it went viral across the United States. It raised consciousness. I am sure it saved the lives of bus operators in cities we haven't even thought of. Right? But it was unfortunate it didn't come in time to save his life. And so as this terminal was being built, I thought to myself, we need to do something to remember Jason Hargrove, but remember the courage of all the men and women in those very deadly and dangerous days that were out on the street. And so I approached ATU, Glenn Tolbert and Shatrone Collier, who you'll hear from, and said, what would you think if we celebrated the men and women of the transit operators in Detroit and name this center the Jason Hargrove Transit Center? And they were enormously supportive, went to city council. Sometimes city council and I have disagreements. This was 9-0. Every city council member said, this is what we need to do. And then I had to call Desha, and I wasn't sure how she was going to react. But I want to say to all of Jason and Desha's children, your father was a great man. The passengers loved him. He treated them with courtesy, respect, waited if they were a little slow getting on the bus. Their co-workers came to him for counseling. He was everything that was good about public service in the city of Detroit. And from now on, we're going to make sure that his service and the service of all our great public servants is properly remembered. A lot of times you get these institutions named after politicians. I thought it made sense to name it for a man who gave his life to this service. And so I'm really pleased that Desha has decided to return home to the city, but please give a great welcome to Desha Hargrove and the Hargrove family.
What an amazing honor. Detroit. We love y'all. I thank you all so much. I won't be long, but I do want to just share with you my words. I have been so eternally grateful for everything that this city has done for my husband in remembrance of him. I miss him so much. Such a gentle giant, such a loving father, wonderful husband, friend, brother, co-worker. This is something that I could have never imagined. Never. But I'm so grateful to each of you. Thank you all so much. To everybody that said yes when you could have said no. When we think about the only other transit center that is named being Rosa Parks. Iconic, legendary. So to have my big guy, my husband, named on a building, my heart is overjoyed. My heart is overjoyed. That's huge for all of us. He was one of ours. He's one of yours. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. So just real quick, let me share my thoughts and say thank you. Special thank you to Mr. Mayor. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. I do. For the cause, for the everything. To your staff, who have been amazing to me. Miss Gail Fulton, sister girl, I love you. And please excuse me if that's, not right to call her sister girl. But I love her. She treated me like family. And I love her. I love you dearly. To Corey McIsaac, who is not here in her absence, she's been amazing to me. So your staff and you, Mr. Mayor, to all the council persons here, Deputy Mayor, this is something beyond my comprehension, my wildest dreams. So again, I thank you. I thank you. I thank you all. So what a profound honor it is to dedicate this terminal in memory of my beloved husband, Jason Hargrove. With unwavering courage and boundless compassion, he tirelessly drove each passenger through the challenges of our time. This tribute not only celebrates Jason's remarkable commitment, but also pays homage to countless individuals who have paved the way before us, echoing the resilient spirit of Rosa Parks. Just as she stood or sat firm in the face of adversity, Jason's dedication shines as a beacon of strength amidst unprecedented circumstances. May this terminal serve as a lasting testament to the unsung heroes, which are all of you, who propel our communities forward, carrying forward the legacy of those who came before us and those that will come after us. DDOT, I love you all. I love y'all. You are not the forgotten ones. You deserve this. You deserve this. You deserve this. So echoing Jason Hargrove, Rosa Parks, I echo Bronte. I echo Reggie, Christopher, Jay, and there's Sylvester's, and there's, Louis, and so many of you, so many of you, so many of you. This is you. This is for you. This is for my family. It's for you. I thank you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you.
All right. That was amazing. Some days trying to get something to the city council is hard work, and some days it's a joy. And I want to introduce 3 council members now who made the Jason Hargrove Transit Center a joy to get adopted. The council member from the 2nd District, Angela Calloway, the council member from the 7th District, Fred Durhall, and the council member elected citywide, Coleman Young II. Let's give them a big hand.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Councilmember Angela Whitfield Calloway, and I represent this amazing district, District 2, the most amazing district in all of the city. Thank you to our amazing mayor, Mayor Duggan. Thank you for this. This was your vision and has come to pass. And this is one of those opportunities as a council member that you, with all your energy and support and enthusiasm, you say yes. And it was my pleasure to say yes to this, what we see here today. And I'll always say yes when it benefits the residents of the city of Detroit. So thank you again, Mayor Duggan. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. You make a living by what you receive, but you make a life by what you give. And Jason Hargrove has made everyone's life better because of what he gave. I am here to provide honor to a man who's not a hero, but a legend. Because heroes die, but legends are always remembered. And his sacrifice will always be remembered. This was a man whose loss should not have happened, but because it did, we were all made better for it. We were all strengthened because of it. And it's not just sad because he gave the best service. It's sad because he represented the best of us. So I think it's fitting that we are here naming this transit center after Jason Hargrove so that his legacy can live on. And every time you go out of your way to help those that can't help themselves, you're carrying on his legacy. To be a voice for the voiceless, you're carrying on his legacy. Be hope for the hopeless, you're carrying on his legacy. To help people trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, we all know folks out there, you carrying on his legacy. And so I think it's fitting as a city councilman, along with my colleagues and the mayor. Let's give the mayor a round of applause for his leadership. and all the work that he's done to bring this together. You know, he's right. It is sometimes a joy to work with city council. It's also very hard to sometimes work with the administration. But this is one of those things that we can come together. And that shows the greatness, and that shows the magnanimity, and it really just shows how good of a man Jason Hargrove was to bring everybody together. And so in that spirit, I would like to present this Spirit Detroit Award, presented as an expression of the gratitude and esteem of the people of Detroit to the significantly important and tremendously valuable Jason Hargrove. Thank you. Yes, please. Celebrating the life of this outstanding Detroit citizen, you are indeed a hero for the people of Detroit. You are an asset to our great city of Detroit. We thank you and are eternally grateful for your tireless efforts, exceptional achievement, outstanding leadership, and dedicated devotion as a Detroit Department of Transportation driver that lifts the spirits and fills the hearts of the people of Detroit and America. The Honorable Coleman A. Young II, Detroit City Councilman at Large, #1, with the entire Detroit City Council of Detroit, Michigan, present this Spirit of Detroit Award to Jason Hargrove, everyone.
Well, this is a great day to be here. We heard a lot of thank yous for the city council, for the mayor. I'll give my thank yous to you. I think oftentimes we forget the sacrifice that it takes every single day. We live life every day here in the city of Detroit. We hop on buses, we go downtown to pay our taxes, we go and do so many things throughout the city of Detroit, but oftentimes we forget the sacrifice of the individuals who work every single day. And attached to that sacrifice are families. I often, as I'm sitting up here and I'm thinking about Jason, I'm thinking about my own family as well and the sacrifices that they make. And sometimes we don't talk about that enough. So thank you, Desha. Thank you, Hargrove family, for sacrificing, for allowing him to be a public servant. When COVID first hit, no one knew how we would move through that pandemic. A lot of lives lost, a lot of great friends, a lot of family members. And when we talk about someone like Jason, who put his life on the line, these are frontline workers, ensuring that even during a pandemic, they were going to ensure that our residents got to the destinations they needed to get to, whether it was the hospital, whether it was doctor's appointments, or whatever. He put his life on the line. And so I am honored to be here today to thank you for his sacrifices, for your sacrifices, and I am honored to see that going forward, when we're seeing this transit center, his name is going to be placed on that, and we will never forget him. We will never forget his sacrifices because of this transit center, and thank you for allowing us to be here to celebrate that with you today. God bless you.
Thank you to the mayor again and to my colleagues and to the Hargrove family. We're next going to hear from Mr. Michael Staley, the director of DDOT.
Thank you, council member, Mr. Mayor, deputy mayor, council members, Mrs. Hargrove, Hargrove family. Thank you for making this happen today. When the pandemic shut America down, public transportation kept rolling. Essential services were provided by the transit equipment operators of the Detroit Department of Transportation at great risk. We gather here today at the dedication ceremony to acknowledge the sacrifice of those men and women. Most importantly, on this day, at this site that bears his name, we memorialize a man who paid the ultimate price when providing those essential services, Jason Hargrove. It is fitting and proper that we do so on this day. To the Hargrove family, on behalf of DDOT, you honor us here today with your presence on this bittersweet day. Thank you very much. My apologies. Let me bring forward, it's my pleasure to do so, President Shatron Collier, ATU Local 26.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to see everyone here on such a joyous day. I'm so filled with glee, not just as a bus driver myself, because I drove for 33 years. I've only been president for about a year and a half, and Jason and I worked at the same terminal. He reported to work every day during the pandemic, him and I and a bunch of drivers, because a lot of us did walk away, because some people were afraid. But for those who showed up, we shared a certain bond. And he would report, and he would come to my office, and we would talk every day. And it took so much out of me when he left here, because he was such, as his wife said, just a humble giant. His personality was so big when he walked in, you could feel his presence in the room, right? His energy. And I'm going to pay homage to his family, particularly his wife, because when you see a man like that, you have to know who's around him, who's impacting him, what's motivating him to be the way he is. And now that I have gotten a chance to know his wife and his family, I see why. The people that show up every day, it's the people around them that they make those sacrifices for. It's the people that's dependent on them every day that they showed up. I know why I showed up. I had a family as well, and I knew that those same people were out there every day expecting me to show up so they could provide for their families. And I can tell you it was a hard choice as you start to see people pass away. And I can tell you when I personally got to 33 people I personally knew had passed away, do you know how hard it was to go to work under those conditions? But I sucked it up like a lot of individuals like Jason, and we showed up every day and we moved these people to where they needed to go. And when the city approached this union and said that they were considering naming this location after him, I was shocked. I was shocked because I had never heard of something like that. As you know, we always, like they said earlier, famous people who they feel contributed something, but you don't look at the small people that keep this world moving. And for them to come to us and say, hey, we want to name it after him, I thought it was going to be a large hurdle, and then I was absolutely speechless when it passed 9-0 with no resistance. Now, I in my lifetime, I had never experienced such joy for just being in the midst of a common worker. Everybody here works at their job. This, for somebody to honor you like this, I know how much this means to his family. I mean, his name will live on forever. And we loved him as a member. He was an honorable member. As they said, people would come to him for counsel and everything. And losing him was a tragic loss to all of us. But we will keep going. And every time I pass this building, every time I come here, I can see his name now. So he will never be forgotten. Thank you.
So Desha, when you're ready.